The Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right.
All right.
And I'll do my little safety spiel real quick, and then I can get out of the way. Here we go. Well, just once again, all guns are always loaded, and I seem to only get past number 1 and 2. I'm going to just talk once again on all guns are always loaded. As we know, Bill Berger passed away. Robin has the safe of weapons in it. The family was going to get into the weapons, into the safe, so she asked me to get in there, and there were a couple weapons loaded. One was a revolver, and another one a semi-automatic with a magazine less one because one was in the chamber. So I unloaded that, made it safe, just not knowing what the family experience is as far as firearms. So just treat all guns loaded. Actually, I was a little bit surprised that they were loaded, but then I thought of Bill, it's in a safe. And these are the 2 that he would be always carrying. But again, just number 1, all guns are always loaded. And I'll end with that. Let's hear how much money we got, Tony.
We have $2,035 and 138 members.
Soon. While we're at it, I guess you all got the notice that we're not going to start collecting dues until we can meet in person. So we're still going to wait. Hopefully, we heard a rumor from Tom that it might be March, but we haven't heard anything official.
Yeah, I haven't heard any updates on any of that yet. So if I do, I'll let you know.
Hey, Barry.
Could we meet in an outdoor location, and that way we could social distance?
We thought about that, but it's kind of cold out there.
Barry.
Oh, you guys are Southerners. I'm from the north.
Hey, Barry.
Zeke.
If you guys ever want to, the classroom doesn't hold a lot of people, but also there's outside there too. So if you guys ever wanted to come up to the range for a meeting so you could all get together personally, as long as you don't lick each other's hands, you're more than welcome up there.
And now you took all the fun out of it.
Well, I know. There's got to be an issue.
I can't even get them to skeet you.
Ammo's hard to get,
Well,
Which range are we talking about?
Zeke's range. Zeke's talking about his range where he does training.
I'm not familiar with I'm new, so I'm not familiar with it because I've been shooting every day almost.
It's normally, it's a private range. And, normally you have to go there, you have to be taking training. But he's just invited us to go there and have a meeting if we want to do that.
Okay.
So we'll take it under advisement.
Thanks for the offer.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you.
Anytime you want. I mean, if you come up and somebody wants to shoot, I'll be up there. So you could go ahead and shoot while you're there. I wouldn't do it as a class or anything, but just, again, mostly for the meeting aspect. I mean, just meeting on Zoom all the time. I have a couple of things I'm involved in. We meet on Zoom and it just gets to be old. It's not, it's not like getting together. So
No, it's not as good. It's
I
not
agree.
as good, but it's better than nothing.
right, exactly.
I guess we can go right into the program. Anyway, Zeke, take it away. Thanks for doing this, by the way.
Oh, no, you're welcome anytime. Obviously, we all know what has happened and is happening. I was following a lot of the stuff. Actually, I reverted to prayers every day and night, and following a lot of the stuff online about, Trump retaining the presidency and all those theories, and nothing really came to pass. I mean, a lot of it looked promising, even with all the troops being sent down to the Capitol and to other states' capitals. I know a lot of people were taking offense to that, saying, look, they're trying to blame us, the conservatives, for that we may riot and everything. And the other side of that theory was maybe they're all in place because if Trump did move to retain the presidency, the other side would be rioting. So it seemed logical. There's a lot of stuff out there about the how the voting machines in the suspect states were hacked, and the information looks pretty solid. It's verifiable, but we don't know what's happening. And I just couldn't picture Trump just walking away. But thus far, that looks like what's happening. So in the meantime,
There was an update on our site yesterday. They still say it's on.
yeah, I
They're
saw
still
that.
talking. Did you see it?
Yeah, I said for March.
Right. But as time goes on, it looks less and less promising that what they're saying is correct.
Yeah, and that's the way I watch it. So, I mean, I go from being thoroughly disgusted to being depressed to being really pissed. And I just have to just go, oh, well, it is what it is. There's nothing I can do about it.
Therapy helps.
Yeah, therapy. And if any of you guys got any spare meds laying around, don't forget me. There's nothing like sharing.
I used to have spare meds until Biden was elected.
Exactly. So some of the things are very disconcerting. Obviously, Biden had said that he's going after NRA and he's gonna take it down. I saw the information NRA moved. I didn't know that they had a big presence in New York, but they're moving all those offices to Texas, which is a good move. But I went to headquarters to Fairfax, Virginia for all my training and the training counselor training and certification. It was all there. And that building, while you see pictures of it, looks huge, and it is huge. It was primarily pretty sparsely populated. So they weren't spending a lot of funds on staffing that they maybe didn't need, but it appears that a lot of those monies goes to Mr. LaPierre. So, but whatever. I don't know what to make of this. I'll say the classes have blown up. The demand has been high. I have to figure out, and I'm working on different ways to get my name out there, because routinely you guys will get emails and thanks to Barry passing on every month the dates, because I put out that monthly little flyer from the website. But the classes have blown up with people, and people calling me saying, listen, we never had guns. We never considered getting a gun, but we bought one now. So people are pretty concerned. And the fact that Biden got elected, look what's happened in Portland again. They attacked the Democratic headquarters. They attacked the federal building, which when Trump had his speech and a few idiots ran over and went into the Capitol. And again, even that is suspect, because I've seen video of where Capitol Police holding the door open while people went in. So, I mean, even that's suspect. But, conservatives and Trump were all blamed for that. Well, there's no one to blame now. you can't blame Trump anymore. And here they're attacking a federal building in Portland. So the stuff is still going on. And we've seen that the Democratic side, you know, Seattle, look what's happened in Seattle, and it's still that way. And Portland and some of the other big cities, Democratic control, they don't want to address this. So I guess these are future votes for them or something. I don't know, but it is bringing a lot of concern to people. I'm thankful that people that went out and bought guns recognize the fact that now we need to get some training. So thank God for that portion. There's also, I've noticed an increase with a lot of gun dealers and gun shops with just selling whatever they have. And probably in maybe like 4 or so classes ago, I had several classes in a row. Elderly females came in, or an elderly couple would come in, and the shop had sold them a snub-nosed 38. In one case, it was an elderly woman and her cousin that lived together, and the shop sold them a double action only Smith Airweight. One of them couldn't even pull the trigger on it. And I said, thank God you couldn't, because I don't think you'd like what would happen if you did. So one of the guns I bring to the class is a Smith Airweight 38, but it's the one with the shrouded hammer. So you could cock it and shoot it single action or double action. So what I told them is, don't shoot that gun, shoot mine if you want to see what the recoil is going to be like. And that way you had more of a reason to bring it back. You could say, you know, I can't even pull the trigger, or my cousin can't even pull the trigger, and it hasn't been fired, because it, you know, obviously if they did fire it, then, you know, all bets are off. But and a couple of people that got sold shotguns, 12 gauge shotguns. So I had a elderly lady call me and said she bought this 12 gauge shotgun and she needs to shoot it. And I said, well, I'm not really doing shotgun clinics right now. She said, well, you know, some of my friends said to call you. They've taken classes from you, and they said if anybody can help. So I said, all right, listen, I'm going up to the range Wednesday to do some maintenance and clean up. Come up there and I'll run you through some stuff on the shotgun. So she comes up, she has a Mossberg, the combo pack with the pistol grip and the full stock on it. So she can barely rack the slide back, which I'll give you that after it's done a bunch of times, it smooths up a little bit, but brand new, they're pretty stiff, but she could barely do it. And then I went through, you know, how the safety, how the foreign lock, the release works and stuff. And then I started into telling her how to mount the stock. And she goes, oh, I can't do that. I've had multiple soldiers' shoulder surgeries, which the shop knew. And I said, well, I said, this thing's gonna pack a wallop. I mean, how? And they said, well, she said it came with the pistol grip. And they said, put the pistol grip on it. And I said, take that pistol grip and put it back in the box and leave it there, because your wrist, plus, as I explained to her, you know, you see on TV in the movies, and there's 3 or 4 bad guys running down the hall, and somebody jumps out and holds a shotgun at waist level and fires around and takes them all out. Well, average spread for double-aught buck is 1 inch per yard. So, you know, 10 yards, 30 feet, and it's more like going to be 8 inch. So, I mean, you have to aim it to hit something. It's not TV in the movies. But she ended up, I was telling her to bring it back. I said, bring it back, go get a 20 gauge or something. She said, listen, my husband's a big liberal guy. He's traveling on business. I bought this shotgun and I'm going to learn how to do this, and it's going to be done when he comes home. And I said, well, I wouldn't argue with a woman with a 12 gauge in her hand. So, and to her credit, she had a box of 25 rounds, and she just kept shooting it and shooting it. And I stopped her, and she had like 3 rounds left, and I gave her a couple rounds that I had, and she was just shooting birdshot. So I gave her a few rounds that I had. So I said, save some for your gun. But even my kids were giving me a hard time about this pile of shotgun holes there that I made this old lady, fire all these shotgun rounds because the empties were all sitting there. And I said, I couldn't stop her, but again, there's dealers taking advantage of people. This last class I just had, the close combat defensive handgun class I just had last Saturday. A girl there said her father works in a gun shop in Ocala. I don't know which one it was. And she needed a box of 9mm, just strictly 115 grain. And he got her a box of, the steel case stuff, so it's pretty cheap. And it was $1 per round. I mean, you're just joking about it. Through her father, it cost her $50 or a box of 9mm rounds. So, I mean, I balked at buying more ammo when it was, 2 or 3 times what I had paid before. However, had I loaded up at that time, and now again, I'm looking for 38 special reloads are going to cost me over $1 a round. So I think we'll probably stop shooting the 38 as soon as I don't have that many rounds left, but I'm not going to buy them at over $1 a round. I mean, I have to end up raising the prices, which may happen anyway, for people because of the ammunition.
Are you having trouble getting the remanufactured stuff now?
Yeah, the place I was buying it out of down by Clearwater there, that veteran-owned place, and I was buying everything through them, all my stuff. I didn't buy it anywhere else. I've had an order in since April or just March or April for 380s and 9s, and every time I called, they just said nope. So I wrote them a letter. I was pretty pissed, and I wrote them a letter saying, I understand I'm a little guy. I'm not ordering 10,000 rounds at a time, but I bought all my ammo through you guys. And at times, your sales guy would call me and say, hey, Zeke, how are you set for, 45s or whatever, meaning that they have an overstock. So I'd buy 1,000 rounds or 2,000 rounds from them, to help out, and I could always use them. So, but I didn't stock up on anything because who of us thought that it would come to this? It's just, if I needed rounds, I called and got some. It was no big deal. If I knew it was going to come to this, I would have bought 10,000 rounds of everything and filled my garage or something. But so he called me back and he said, you can stop down here anytime you want unannounced, and you'll see our machines are sitting here. And he said, the only way I'm keeping the doors open is I've been buying some shotguns and a couple other guns from Turkey and been selling those. And that's because we just can't get with, primers, bullets themselves. So, but I see other information, there was an article through the NRA, where's all the rounds going, where big manufacturers are talking about that they're pumping out as many rounds as they can, but just people are snapping them all up.
Yep.
So, but I don't know, these guys are telling me they can't get anything. So I was just pissed. And I told him when he called, I mean, there's nice that he followed up and called me, and I said, I just feel that, you should make some kind of effort to even get the little guy something, but just to have nothing at all from the one place I bought all my stuff from is just really hard to swallow.
I read an article I read an article yesterday from Hornady,
Yeah,
and they're saying whatever they make today is shipped tomorrow. They have no stock. It's just
yeah.
ship it out.
I saw the same thing from Federal and from CCI Blazer. You know, they're just, whatever they're making, it's gone tomorrow out to their dealers network. I was over in, went up to Rural King a couple of weeks ago. There is not one round of anything in that store.
Right.
And supposedly it's all because of demand.
Yeah. Hoarding.
No, it's not going to get,
Not gonna get-
obviously, it's not going to get better, seeing that the way the election went and the fact that he has clearly put a target on things like NRA and our guns. As far as people, you know, they went through this in Connecticut where they, after Sandy Hook, they came out with all these regulations and you couldn't get ARs. There's a ban on ARs. And what they did was, if you already had an AR, you could keep it. The only way to get rid of it, and you have to register. You have to register by a certain date. And the only way to get rid of it was to sell it out of state through FFL dealers or turn it in for destruction. You can't transfer. You can't transfer ownership. You can't transfer ownership to a family member. That's the way they took care of that. Now there's people here buying up, you know, they'll run out and say, if I see an AR anywhere, I'm going to snap it up, and they don't know I have it because we don't have registration. And that's true. That's a very good thing. However, all they have to do is pass a law that's saying if you have one, it's a felony. So it doesn't matter if you have one or bury it in your backyard or whatever you want to do. If you're caught with it, that's going to be the issue. And if they arrest you for a felony, you're not going to have any guns because they're going to take them off, except for things you may be able to hide from them. But I don't know. I mean, it's just that slippery slope there.
Well, my wife was reading an article yesterday that NSA used to just spy on foreigners. You know, NSA is the national security.
Yeah.
Supposedly they spy on everybody now, even the people in the United States. So, you know, they check your email, they check everything, you know, or they can.
Well, that's all the stuff that they have been. That's all the stuff that came. Who's the guy that's living overseas, and they're still trying to grab that? Brought that to our attention.
Snowden?
Assange.
Julian Assange.
There are two of them.
Well, it's through him. He goes, but yeah, Snowden, and then the other guy there, forget his name, that they're
Assange.
yeah, they're trying to bring back here to prosecute. You know, this stuff. That's why he came out with that and took all those documents, was to prove that, look at, this is what they're doing. I mean, you know, I think the corruption goes through the core of everything. You know, look at what all the stuff that Trump just declassified with all the deep state stuff. And then we found out that even Lindsey Graham, who I thought was a fantastic guy, he was sitting on a bunch of stuff too. Why?
Right.
So these people that had access to these documents in evidence of corruption from the Democrats and through Obama and Obama's staff and everything, they just sat on it. I mean, you know, look at Hunter Biden's laptop. While Trump is going through that first impeachment process, the FBI has the laptop in their possession. Did they say word one about it? Did anybody go, hey, hold on a minute. We got a laptop that shows this is all verifiable, what Trump has said. And no one said boo. And this is the FBI under his, you know, as part of his staff and stuff. It's just crazy. So I don't know. I mean, it's easy to get overwhelmed by this. I think you just have to look on trying to carry on and have support for each other.
Well, guess we might have to get a new hobby.
Yeah, really. I think I don't know. Knitting needles, are those dangerous? I can't knit, or I don't know. I was going to look into that.
They'll probably ban them.
Yeah, because
Salt needles.
there you go.
That's why that video that I forwarded to you, Barry, that you sent out is so important, because this character down in South Florida wants to do the exact same thing, even worse than Connecticut. He's going to the point where he wants you to license your magazines.
Yeah.
Every one of them. So these guys are out there and they're not going to stop.
Well,
Yeah, I think I sent you a copy of that too, Zeke.
Yeah. And Connecticut did that with the magazines. Anything over 10 rounds, you had to register with them and just somehow just put a mark on them and mark them. Now, and what they did was, say you're en route to the range, or you're at the range, or whatever, however you got into contact, if they found you with a magazine loaded with over 10 rounds, so say you had a Glock 19 mag that holds 15 rounds and you had 11 in it or 12 in it, over 10 rounds, they charge you with a misdemeanor. Second time it happens, it's a felony. And once again, if you get convicted of a felony, you're not going to have guns. You're not going to have ammunition. You're not going to have magazines.
I think the Florida one is you can't even have a mag that holds over 10 rounds.
Right,
Illegal to even have one
right.
Yeah,
So,
without registering it.
Yeah, without registering it.
right. And then Connecticut, you can buy Glocks now through Connecticut with Connecticut legal magazines. So you don't have to go through now, I never registered any of mine because I was coming down here. They have registration in Connecticut. As a cop in Connecticut, I could go on to that state database and I would check it periodically to see what they had listed of what I owned. And they were always a couple behind. I may have traded something in or sold something. I bought something else and it hasn't come up on the database yet. But they have a database. And if they see that I own 4 Glock 19s and they know they come with at least 2 magazines, then they already know what I have. Now, you had a certain date to register everything by, including your ARs. I was already down here, but I still have my Connecticut permit because I still own the property up there. And it has my old house as the address on it. I was waiting to hear that, hey, there's a bunch of cops that kicked in your front door the other night. I never heard anything from them, and I just totally disregarded everything. And I figured if they got a hold of me, if they want to call me or something, I can invite them to come on down and get them. So you're more than
They probably have police tape all over your house.
They probably have a wood chipper waiting for you.
Yeah. Well, so I don't know. Again, I think you guys getting together the way you do, again, offering my range and once it gets warmer, I mean, even to be able to sit outside or sit in a pistol building or whatever, if you guys want to get together, I mean, I think that's the best way is maintain contact and just, there's really nothing we can do. You get pissed and I'm worried as much as anybody else. But I mean, what can I do? If you start, you look at the guy from Proud Boys in Florida that tries to get something going, and then he's looked as a subversive and taken into custody and stuff. So I don't know. It's coming to that point,
Well, Zeke, I think we can look at one thing, and that is we need to get politically active. I think it's imperative we start writing letters or small things that we can do as a group.
Yeah.
And generate some interest in the group to take this route. I don't see how much choice we have.
No, and I would suggest that have a letter, you know, at different times, if there's something that needs to be addressed, have a letter come from your club, but then also individually send letters, because getting one letter signed by, you know, 50 people isn't as effective as getting 50 letters.
Absolutely.
So follow it up and do both, and make phone calls. I mean,
Wouldn't that put you in their database then if we start mailing letters out with our names on?
well, that's all right. I mean, what, you're in the database for writing a letter?
Yeah, but I think if we contact our elected officials and take it, it's legitimate. I mean, we're citizens voicing our concerns. There's nothing wrong with that.
No, right now, that's, we're standing on the edge of a razor blade, as if that's, because look at, there was one senator that came on about the National Guard in DC, and you see him, he came on and said that those troops in DC and the National Guard are 90% white males.
Yeah.
And he said this on TV, if you saw it, he goes, and the people that voted for Biden, the demographics were 20% white males. So he's voicing a concern of how many of those people could be inside attackers, and that's why they have the FBI down there checking into them. I mean, that's crazy. So, I mean, that if it came from Trump, I mean, it's illegal. You know, to consider, well, white male, we have to look into you because you're a white male.
Well, you know, when I sent that, I forwarded that video, it came with a letter that could be posted through, I think it was Gun Owners of America, if I remember correctly.
Right.
But it was targeted and sent to our particular representatives in our area. And I didn't even know who they were until that point in time.
Right.
And now I've got them all in a database. And we've got one very pro 2A representative up in Alachua who took Yoho's seat, that cat comic. And Daniel Webster is kind of wishy-washy, but he's not as bad as some of the others. These people need our attention. Same with our senators. And frankly, I've got letters to Rick Scott and Marco Rubio too over this impeachment thing, because this is just asinine.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
You've got to speak up.
I agree. I agree 100%.
But also look at the vast majority did speak up with our vote for president.
Right.
And how did that go?
Yeah.
So
Scary.
in some respects, we feel a bit downtrodden because the Dems came out on top. But if you looked at by the vote, I mean, come on, look at what we're seeing on television. Trump is going rally to rally to rally. He has thousands of people that wait hours, if not days, to get into his rallies. And Biden's sitting in a cellar and then goes out to a drive that has 50 cars in it. And you're telling me he won? I mean, it's ridiculous. Obviously, the majority of us, the majority of Americans liked what we saw. We saw a guy that was doing everything for us. He's bringing God back into government, into the schools and stuff. He's always talking about how we're made in the image of God and we're all one people under God, and God bless America and God bless you. To the other side that restricts us from using those phrases, but yet look at where we ended up. So,
Well, Zeke, a lot of this is our own faults because we've all sat back and not done anything. And let's take a lesson from the liberals. Let's get organized because they are very organized. And
well,
that's how they're doing what they're doing.
Also, you know, they have a great big set of nuts on them, every single one of them, where Republicans constantly, when something comes up, what has it ever been the Republican response? They're, you know, everything's kind of, well, you know, and even when Trump first got elected, if you remember, a lot of the Republicans didn't even support him when he got elected. But he did a lot for the Republican Party and stuff. And you gotta have some stones, and you gotta speak up. And Republicans don't even. So
Well, because we don't expect that of our representatives.
right,
And it's time we send a message to them, speak up and grow a set and
absolutely,
have some integrity, or we're going to replace you.
yeah. And we have to be able to do that. I wish they could bring back, I know some states have recalls. And remember, there was a couple,
California's going through it now with their governor.
yeah.
Yep.
So, I mean, more and more, these politicians are, getting more secure in their position where we can't do anything about it except for a vote.
Well, one of the things that's going on, and it's very, very under the radar, and I don't know if anybody here knows about this, the Convention of States. Has anybody heard of this?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, this is a movement that's going on right now. We need, I think, 7 more states to sign on. And what that does, if it goes through, would open up for amending the Constitution on 2 issues. One is term limits, the other is taxes. This is something that we need to get behind stuff like this. Because the only way to get rid of these people is to term limit them out. They're not going on their own.
I think Florida is already part of this.
Florida's already signed on. There's about, I think it's like 29 states have already signed on. I think we need 2/3. I think that's how it works. But it's part of the Constitution. It's part of our process.
Zeke, you want to talk about the article I sent you about Arizona putting together a sanctuary state legislation?
Yeah, I read over it, and it's, if you haven't seen the article, get a hold of Barry.
I'll send it to everybody.
And it's about how the sanctuary states, how they passed that legislation, but how it can be turned around and used to support Second Amendment states. So anything concerning Second Amendment could follow the same legislation and the same requirements. So what it essentially says in a nutshell is that a state is not totally required to enforce federal law. So when like Trump passes something and says, if you're going to immigrate here, you have to have this and this. And well, a better thing is all the ICE stuff, the ICE detainers and everything, where some of these big cities in California and states have said we're a sanctuary state. Hartford, Connecticut said we're a sanctuary city. A lot of the cities in California, they're sanctuary cities, and it was gone to the Supreme Court and been upheld that they're okay. I mean, they're not totally, while they have to follow federal law, they not have to enforce it. And that's what it came down to. So if you read this article, it comes up with, well, using the same thing. So if Biden says, all right, all of you have to turn in any type of semi-auto carbine, and we get some states like Florida or whatever say, nah, we're not going to support that, and we're not going to do it. And you've seen some sheriffs early on who have talked about not enforcing the some of the gun grab type of stuff. To go, well, we're not sending our troops out there. And I want to tell you, the same thing with me, if I ever got called in Connecticut and they said, okay, Sarge, we want you to take a group of guys, here's some addresses we want you to hit. We need to get there's a bunch of ARs and all these different places. I want you to go out there. My response is, F you, catch you later. Let me know when my suspension's done, because I'm not going to do it. But this This is really a good way. I mean, it just spins that language right around that's already being used. It's already found to be legal for them to do this. And so let's do the same thing. It looks like a good avenue. It's a very well written and researched article.
Yeah, they're basically talking about illegal aliens here, and not California not having to go after, using their people to go after illegal aliens. They can't stop the feds from doing it, but
And they don't have to cooperate with the feds.
exactly. Exactly. And they could do the same thing with the Second Amendment here in Florida. And some states already are doing something, like this article talks about Arizona, but I already know that Iowa's doing it. And there was another state too.
Governor of Texas came out earlier this week.
Texas.
Yeah.
Yep.
Texas is doing it. Basically, it's like, you know, Marion County is a sanctuary county, but that doesn't do anything as far as the feds is concerned. It just, you know, if the state would pass something, then Marion County could say, no, we're not going to do that.
Back to the Constitution, open it up. Are we going to get, or could we get stuck with some stuff we don't want to change?
No, the only two things under this article would be, it's specific, very specific, taxes and term limits.
Okay.
They can't open up the whole thing.
It'd be something, that's the only way term limits are ever going to happen. You know, you see
On the federal level, yeah.
Yeah.
The only
You
way.
see on Facebook all the time, you know, all these posts about, oh, we need to do term limits. Yeah, good luck with that. That ain't ever going to happen. There's no one, you know, Cruz has talked about it and stuff. You think they're going to vote for term limits? These are people that get into politics. Look at Biden's in there for 47 years. You know, name one person in Congress or House of Representatives that's not a multimillionaire. Name one.
Chuck Schumer never had a job. He came out of law school and went right into politics.
Oh, there you go.
Been there ever since.
Smart guy.
Yeah, right.
Frickin'
I left New York.
Well, just so you guys know, I've sent this article here. I'll send it to you too, but I've already sent it to Joe Harding, who is our state representative. I sent it to him yesterday. And, you know, he's a new representative, but he's our state representative. And as you may recall, we had him on the Zoom call a few
Earlier
months
this
ago.
year.
Yes.
And I would like to get him, in maybe a couple months, I'd like to get him on a call or have him be our speaker if he'll do it.
Yeah.
I think he probably doesn't even have his feet on the ground yet, but I definitely wanted to send him this article so it gives him some, because I know he's definitely pro 2A. So I wanted him to have some ammunition if he could do something for us or start something for us.
And give us direction of what we can do for him to support him.
Right. Well, he's going to say money probably.
Yeah. Well,
I don't know, because I don't think that job pays too much. I think it's, you know, it's state rep is about $35,000 a year.
Give him time, he'll be a millionaire.
yeah.
Well, I'm talking about his legal salary.
All right. Well, that's all really I have. I just say, you know, there's power in prayer, and I've been doing it. The other thing is support each other. If there's something we can do for each other, I mean, even just getting together at times, and even a call like this, it helps, you know, because mentally you can get crushed by this. And there's a point where you just have to recognize what you can and can't do, and whatever we can do, do it. If you need anything from me, I'm here to help. I'll gladly jump on board. So I said, let's all just stay together, stay strong, do what we can. And when things like this come up, you know, like this article that Barry came up with, let's jump on it, see what we can do.
Can you provide containers so we can bury guns at your range?
You know what? Maybe I'll sell little plots like they do at cemetery. You know, I'll just retain the master map. I won't let it out to anybody, but we'll have little areas, you know. Say,
You're
okay,
gonna need a bigger plot than most people.
Larry, you can, would you want double, Larry? You want a double or triple?
Yeah, we're looking at
over
triple,
here.
and I was wondering, are you still busy converting your land to a laser tag site?
Yeah, really, I know.
Oh, airsoft.
Airsoft, got it.
I don't know. That shoots a projectile.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems awful dangerous. You could shoot your eye out with that and the BB. So
You mean we can't even go back to BB guns?
A Red Ryder airsoft gun.
There you go.
yeah.
Has
Red Ryder.
has anyone seen where the Capitol Police threw out the guard from the Capitol? Made them go to a parking garage?
I saw it.
Yeah.
Saw it this morning on the news, yeah.
Sickening.
Some of the people have fixed that though, I think. I don't think they're still there.
I
The
don't
point
know.
was there was like one outlet in I don't know how many toilets,
Yeah.
but then it
One
was
toilet.
They had 2 porta-johns in the parking lot where they sent them.
ridiculous.
Well,
Ridiculous.
Makes you wonder.
Well, also, in one of the things, I'll just say this and then leave. One of the big things I saw for justification and evidence of support for Trump with this whole thing with the election, these troops down there, is who has treated the military any better than Trump?
No
You know,
man.
Obama had our Navy borrowing rowboats from sportsmen, and Trump came in and super outfitted all our military. Who had more respect for the military than Trump, and for law enforcement? I would see times when his caravan would be going to an airport or something, and there'd be a lot of officers blocking off a highway, and he'd stop and get out and shake their hands. The same thing at the airports. He'd get out there and there's all kinds of law enforcement, military personnel out there, while he's going to board Air Force One, and he walks over and shakes everybody's hands. So,
Yep.
and remember that the National Guard comes from localities. So, Citrus County or Marion County, these are our citizens and stuff. So I think when push comes to shove, who are they going to support? So it's something to think about. All right, well.
Thanks, Zeke. Anybody have a question for Zeke before we let him go?
No, I'd just like to thank you for giving us a presentation.
No, you're more
Yeah,
than
thanks,
welcome.
Zeke.
Thank you.
Thanks, Zeke.
All right.
Thanks, Zeke. More
See you
depressed
later.
now than I was before the meeting.
Yeah,
Hey, Zeke, maybe you ought to change some of your steel targets to something that 22s can knock over. Because I'm not sure it's 9mm.
I know. Well, now, hopefully in a couple of months, we might see some kind of direction. I don't know if it's going to get worse or better, but just keep praying. All right. Well, thank you. Thanks, Barry.
Take care.
All right. Talk
See
to
you
y'all
soon.
later.
I see.
Bye.
Okay, anybody have anything else?
I'll just let Tom know that IDPA down in Use's Gun Club has a special 22 listing now. So instead of 9mm and up or 380 and up, they will allow 22s just because of the shortage. So there's a special.
I was on the website for Ocala Sportsman, and they
Yeah.
also have a 22 program, rifle and pistol
Oh
competition.
yeah, I've been going to that all along.
I've never, I'm considering joining there. But, you know,
For their competitions, I don't think you need to join, but it depends on how
no,
often.
I'm just
you have
wanting to go
pay.
out and rifle shoot, you know?
Yeah, you can get up to 100 yards there.
Yeah, but you know, to Zeke's point earlier, I went to gun show down in Eustis before Christmas, and actually bought a 22, a Glock. I didn't know Glock was making them, and they were so good. But anyway, the guys that I'm talking to are dealing with a lady who had zero experience, and she wanted to buy a firearm. And I'm not going to open my mouth while somebody's trying to sell stuff. But these guys were really pretty piss poor about what they were doing for this woman. I mean, she actually walked out with a Ruger 380, which not so bad for personal protection. But it's like no questions, no answers other than, yeah, try this one, and sent her across the way. The guy, oh, he's got ammo, so so she walked out like she went to the supermarket. But it was pretty bad. I thought it was pretty bad. But that's maybe just the nature of certain dealers at gun shows. I don't know.
Well, that's basically why you need to go to a class like Zeke offers, where he lets you shoot, 10 or 12 of his guns, different calibers, etc., so that you can try out different stuff before you actually buy one.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I brought my wife with me specifically so she could get a feel for this thing too. So I'm not the most experienced guy in the world, but at least we know what we're doing with ourselves and our families and such.
Yeah, but Tom, your wife was missing her lattes while she was out there.
No, she had one to go. She had one with her. So anyway, Barry, I've got a list of about 8 or 9 organizations. I'll send it to you that everybody should know and check out their websites. Beyond Gun Owners of America, Association of Gun Rights, Citizens Committee for Gun Rights, stuff like that, because that's where we're going to keep our information flowing from. Those are the people who are out there and see this stuff every day all over the country.
I'm a member of NRA, but I've stopped donating to them because of the problems they've had with LaPierre.
Well, a lot of people have, but that doesn't mean that we should not search out other advocacy groups.
Well, I was going to say, I have joined Guns of America, and they do a pretty good job about keeping you informed, locally and otherwise. And, the one I sent out that you sent me, Tom, had a link to it where you could contact your representatives concerning this issue.
Right.
That I think it's the Senate Minority Leader is trying to put that together, Mr. Farmer.
The guy down south?
Yeah, the guy who was trying to
I didn't know he's minority leader.
Senate Minority Leader, I believe.
I know he's from Broward County, so
Well,
whatever
is
this is the second time he's tried it also.
yeah, but it probably won't see the light of day, but you never know.
He and looking into him, he got funded by the by Bloomberg's group, so he's in the pocket of them down there. So
Isn't everybody
Look how close we
Democrat?
were. Look how close we were the last governor's election.
yep, exactly.
That was so close that it's scary.
Exactly.
Look what we would have had.
Not good.
No. Anyway, fellas, I got to go to work. So
Alrighty.
I'll see you around. Thank you, and have a great week.
My
You all too.
condolences.
Yeah,
I don't
Meeting
know what
adjourned.
work is.
I know you guys. I know. One of these days, I'll be like you all. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Good seeing you, all my comrades.
Meeting adjourned, everybody.
All right.
You